go ahead and have a look at some of the dailies here this morning. Vanguard newspaper, terrorism, presidency mom, DHQ thrilled over arrest of Simon Ekpa, 4 others. And then look at Blueprint newspaper, 2027 presidency. You can't decide Tinubu's fate. Arewa think tank knocks ACF. And then you can see some of the riders here this morning. Shekarau-led LND wants North reclaim lost glory. Woos state governors, lawmakers, others on vision. And then beneath that list story, DHQ to finish government. Extradite Ekpa to face justice in Nigeria. This Nigerian newspaper, reps throw out 6-year single-term bill. Veto legislation seeking to alter 4-year term for president, governors. National Assembly proposes life jail for drug offenders and traffickers. Beneath that list story, Biafra agitator Ekpa others to be extradited from Finland to Nigeria. Daily Times here this morning. PDP greater than Wike Damagun ascribed to NAS caucus assures party will bounce back. Nigerian Tribune, State Police, Kwara, Kebbi, Adamawa, FCT get 1 week to submit positions. NEC sets up committee to deepen participation in electrification, the paper reports this morning. Leadership Friday, Tinubu to world leaders. We won't raise taxes on vulnerable Nigerians, says his administration prioritizing the poor. Governors to take position on tax bills. We strongly support reforms ascribed to IMF. Look at Nigerian News Direct here. The focus is on economic reforms. Nigerians now understand the need for our reforms, ascribed to Tinubu. 6 IMF support for economic stability, reduce hardship. Your loan burden is bone-crushing, hurting Nigerians, Atiku tells Tinubu. The paper reports that one as well today. Daily Independent, Kwara, Adamawa, Kebbi, FCT delayed decision on state police. Look at the riders here. NEC gives states FCT 1 week to submit report. Raises committee on national electrification to check grid collapses. RMAFC agency that sets salary structures for public officers broke. And then The Guardian is focusing on dwindling sports fortunes here, and it says grassroots neglects mediocrity strip Nigeria of youthful population edge. And then Daily Trust, IPOP, military seek extradition as Finland jails Ekpa, the paper report here this morning. ACF suspends Chairman Osuman over unauthorized statements. And then to the Business Day here this morning. The Business Day reports Nigeria lures investors with capital market reform bills. And those are your headlines this morning.
Well, I guess you already found out why that the ACF chairman could be in trouble on the front page of Daily Trust newspapers, as you did highlight, Chamberlain. ACF suspends. Yeah, that's Mohammed, I beg your pardon, Maman Mike Osuman. Yeah. The Board of Trustees and said, look, he didn't consult anybody. It was not a collective decision. That commentary he made that the North will support a northern candidate. He says, no, that is your personal opinion, and as such, you're on suspension. So, 2027, yes, it might be a talking point, but they just thought that they won't have it. Is it early days yet?
For what?
I would, yes, I would think that is
a huge mistake.
Well, so what I know, I mean, politicians are always thinking about the next elections immediately the last ones are concluded. But isn't it early days, you know, to start talking? Because the administration has barely celebrated 2 years in office, and you know the whisperings around it should not even arise. I think that if it was suspended for, you know, even having conversations around that and bringing it to the public for, so that's alone, maybe he
but you know what they do? Whatever project or whatever thing that they do, they always do it to project as their scorecard for the people. Say, look, yes, you elected us, but these are the things that we have done and the reasons why you should elect us again. So all of those is always a build-up from the get-go. Oh, the build-up.
Indeed.
To the next.
So yes, indeed. But in the meantime, you know, it's early days yet.
Ideally, yes.
Early days yet.
Politically, no.
I think that journalists have a duty,
yes,
to, you know, discourage that sort of discussion. Even if people are having it wherever it is they're having it, it should not make front pages unless somebody says something really outrageous that threatens perhaps, you know, 2027, and maybe we need to ensure that that kind of person, you know, comes to account for what it is that they've said. But otherwise, all of those kinds of conversations should be discouraged for now, at least. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that journalists have a duty to do that. But, I mean, that's not what's catching my fancy this morning. What is catching my fancy? And I'm only going to be asking one question on it. You see the story here. Reps reject bill on 6-year single tenure for president, governors. The story is on the front page of Vanguard newspapers. We've been at this issue for a long time, this issue of a 6-year single tenure. Because some people think, look, it doesn't make sense. Just basically what Chamberlain, you know, was highlighting now. You barely have elected them into office, and they're already beginning to think about the next elections. And sometimes that is all the motivation they have for whatever it is that they're doing. Sometimes decisions that need to be taken, that could be difficult, are delayed, are deferred, because nobody wants to lose the next election. So there have been questions as to how do you hold leaders accountable, because some people will say that is usually the incentive for leaders to perform because they want a second term. The question is, when they eventually get the second term, do they go to sleep? So whatever it is we do in the second term to make sure that we still hold them accountable, can't it be done in the first term of 6 years, the single term of 6 years? That has been the question. But then you now see here that the House of Reps have rejected a bill on a 6-year single tenure for president and governors. And we understand that this bill was sponsored by a lawmaker from Imo State, Ugochinyere. I'm trying to remember his first name now. Honorable Ugochinyere. The big question is, I'm asking, you know, because he also does have, I don't know how it is between himself and his colleagues, but when you look at some of the things that he said on national television and causes that he might have sponsored, you have to ask the question, did they reject the bill or did they reject the person who sponsored the bill? That's the only question I have to ask this morning. Chamberlain.
Well, the question I have to ask is on the front page of News Direct this morning, and what I read, I thought for a few seconds I was delayed into taking the next one because my mind won't move on so fast. Look at that, for instance. It says, economic reforms. Nigerians now understand the need for our reforms. Ascribe to Tinubu.
Do they? It's a big question. Do they?
Okay, maybe I might have missed something. So I thought to bring it to you all.
You know, it will be interesting, you know, Chamberlain. I still look forward to a conversation with the president, you know, because we can't just be having this one-sided communication from the, and I don't know if it will qualify as communication, because communication is that somebody speaks and another person, you know, speaks back. But I understand that we have to take a break at this moment.
All right. So, by the way, talk to us about that headline. If you're a part of those Nigerians who understand it, please help us, explain to us. We'd like to understand as well. But we'll be back in just a moment. Stay on with us.